We live from New Delhi, watching TT India Newshour, India's voice to the world. I'm Lipakshi Khurana, coming up in the next hour. India continues its strong pitch at World Economic Forum in Davos. Union Minister Ashwini Vaishnaw says Bharat is building a complete semiconductor ecosystem. US President Trump says US and NATO will reach agreement on Greenland's future. No going back on control, won't rule out force. European Parliament freezes approval of US trade deal following Trump's tariff stance over Greenland. Australian Parliament passes gun reforms and anti-hate bills following Bondi shooting that killed 15 people. And in sports, India-New Zealand rivalry shifts to the shortest format as the men in blue face the Black Caps in the first of the 5 T20 internationals in Nagpur today. And on to the details now. As global leaders attending the Davos 2026, the World Economic Forum plays a key role in shaping India's economic vision with discussions on investment, trade, AI, MSMEs, climate finance and India's growing influence in global decision-making. Well, on day 3 of the forum, several union ministers and state leaders will be attending special sessions related to the key sectors as India continues its strong pitch at Davos 2026. Maharashtra and Jharkhand bagged investments. While speaking at the World Economic Forum annual meeting in Davos, India's Minister for Electronics and Information Technology, Ashwini Vaishnaw, has said that India is working at all levels of chip manufacturing and aims to become the world's largest supplier of services. The minister also acknowledged India's AI revolution, calling it Industry 5.0.
Layers in the AI architecture: the application layer, the model layer, the chip layer, the infra layer and the energy layer. We are working on all the 5 layers, making very good progress in all the 5 layers. On the application layer, we will probably be the biggest supplier of services to the world. Go to an enterprise, understand the business of enterprise, understand the working of that enterprise, and provide that service using AI applications. That's going to be the biggest factor of success or successful deployment of AI, because that's where ROI comes from. ROI doesn't come from creating a very large model. 95% of the work can happen with models which are 20 billion or 50 billion parameters. We are creating a bouquet of such models. We already have. We already have a bouquet of such models which are now being deployed in multiple sectors to increase the productivity, to increase the efficiency, to increase the effective use of technology.
Well, India has already secured new investment commitments from Cisco and Hitachi, advanced talks on a historic EU trade deal, and showcased its largest ever delegation to position itself as the fastest growing large economy and a premier investment destination at Davos 2026. More in this report on India's presence at Davos.
At Davos 2026, the world gathers to shape the future of business, innovation and global cooperation. And this year, India stands tall as a commanding presence. Union Ministers Ashwini Vaishnaw, Prahlad Joshi and K. Ram Mohan Naidu join Chief Ministers like Devendra Fadnavis, N. Chandrababu Naidu, Hemanta Biswa Sarma and others to showcase India's economic strength and vision. The India Pavilion reflects the nation's dynamism, creativity and unstoppable momentum. From cutting-edge technology to sustainable solutions, from world-class infrastructure to thriving startups, India embodies the spirit of a nation on the rise.
Energy itself, that is the green energy and resilient infrastructure, we need more than $350 billion. And there is a return is assured. So, you know, the total NPA is the lowest today. 10, 11 years back, NPA was the highest in the world. Today, lowest 2.1%. So we are managing in every sector well. And that's why Prime Minister is telling to all us, perform, transform, and also not only performing, not only transforming, we should inform. We should inform to the world so that every person who is in Davos, he should feel that he should come here and see the India's growth.
India today is the fastest growing large economy in the world, with a young, skilled workforce, bold reforms, and a digital first mindset. It offers unmatched opportunities for investors seeking growth and resilience. Opportunities lie also in India's northeast, with the largest state there boasting of a rapid growth potential.
We are growing at almost 13% in last 5 years, and hopefully for the next year our projection is that will be grown by 15%. So that is the growth trajectory of Assam, thanks to the bold leadership of Prime Minister. We are necessarily strong in hydrocarbon, but we are also doing good in green energy.
At Davos, leaders, entrepreneurs, and innovators from across the globe are discovering why India is not just a market, but a partner in shaping the future. India is being seen as a gateway to possibilities where tradition meets transformation and ambition meets achievement.
Right after Davos, the next weekend, I will travel to India. There's still work to do, but we are on the cusp of a historic trade agreement. Indeed, some call it the mother of all deals. One that would create a market of 2 billion people, accounting for almost a quarter of global GDP.
India's presence at Davos is also powered by the presence of business leaders such as Mukesh Ambani and more than 100 CEOs from banking, technology, renewable energy, and startups.
We also want to be a Vishwabandhu, a partner with the whole world and all the countries and all the people. And we saw this spirit clearly today during the COVID-19 also, when we were transporting vaccines, medicines, and providing all the help to different countries who were in need at that time. And that is our values of democracy, sustainability, inclusiveness, collaboration for the greater good of the planet that continues to guide us.
Together, they represent the unstoppable momentum of the fastest growing large economy in the world. At Davos, global leaders are discovering why investing in India means investing in resilience, growth, and opportunity. Bureau Report, DD India.
Well, India is hosting the International Democracy and Election Management Conference 2026 from 21st to 23rd of January. This three-day international conference is being organized jointly by the India International Institute of Democracy and Election Management and IDEA.
India has assumed the presidency of the International Institute for Democracy and Election Assistance, IDEA, for 2026. Following this, the Election Commission of India is organizing the Election Management Conference 2026 from 21st to 23rd January. This is the largest global conference ever hosted by India in the field of election management and democracy.
45 election management bodies have confirmed, but overall our participation will include many foreign missions. So we expect around 40 other foreign missions to join. So in all, about 85 countries will participate in the international conference. And through different programs, like we said, plenary sessions, we said thematic session, these election management bodies will also have bilateral meetings, exchanging and exploring possibility.
During the event to be held at Bharat Mandapam, around 100 representatives from more than 70 countries will participate, and about 42 election management institutions will also take part. The conference will include an inaugural session, EMB leaders plenary, EMB working group meetings, the launch of SENet, and thematic sessions based on global electoral issues, international electoral standards, and best practices and innovations. Also, an exhibition related to various elections held in India and its diverse electorate will be showcased. A documentary titled India Decides, relating to the 2024 Lok Sabha elections, will also be screened. Rishi Kumar's report, DD India, Delhi.
And Republic Day parade rehearsals are ongoing in the national capital. Along with marching contingents, India's defence strength will also be on display. Indian Army contingents took part in the Republic Day 2026 rehearsal parade at Kartavya Path. A major highlight was the debut of the long-range anti-ship hypersonic glide missile during the rehearsal. Well, meanwhile, due to the movement of troops and equipment, traffic restrictions remain in place in central Delhi. Authorities have advised commuters to follow advisories and use alternate routes and have urged the public to cooperate for smooth Republic Day preparations. Well, the Republic Day parade showcases India's cultural diversity and military strength. Since 2014, the parade floats have seen major changes in design, technology and themes. Floats now blend tradition with modernity, using digital displays, advanced lighting and eco-friendly materials like bamboo and recycled wood. Selection focuses on creativity, message clarity and innovation, with expert committees from art, culture and architecture fields guiding the process. In 2015, 16 states, 10 ministries and the 3 armed forces presented themed floats, while 2026's parade will highlight Vande Mataram. And as part of the remount, veterinary corps, raptors and dogs are also a star attraction on this Republic Day parade. The dog squad includes 5 indigenous species, including the Rampur hound. Vishal Baristo finds out more.
4 raptors and 22 dogs, and that includes Indian breeds as well. They are part of the contingent parade. The RVC is participating for the very first time. I have with me Lieutenant Colonel Dheeraj Mehta. Let's talk to him and find out. Colonel Mehta, you have also introduced Indian breeds. So tell us about them.
Yeah, I would like to say that as dog contingents, RVC has been participating previously also as pure dog contingent. This time the contingent comprises of not just the conventional breeds of dogs. We have the indigenous breeds of dogs. Then we have raptors with us. We have the Janskar ponies with us, and also the Bactrian camels. So that is what makes it a larger contingent this time, with variety which is required for the various roles that are expected out of RVC by the organization.
Okay. So when we talk about the indigenous breeds, what all are they?
We have 5 different indigenous breeds, which includes the Rampur hounds, the Mudhol hounds, Rajapalyams, Chippi Parai and Kombai.
Apart from dogs, we also have raptors, and I have with me Captain
Harshita.
Captain Harshita, what kind of excitement is there? You being a lady officer, you've trained them, you've been with them. So how challenging was it?
It's truly a matter of pride and honor for me to be a part of RVC contingent in Republic Day Parade 2026, and I'm also pleased to inform that I'm amongst the first batch of women officers in RVC, so that adds to the pride that we are having with our contingent, and it has been a great experience so far, and I strongly believe that leadership and officers don't have a gender, so that is what I have been experiencing as well.
What was more challenging, training the raptors or the dogs?
No, I think once you understand the neuroscience behind training an animal, then they are all equally highly trainable animals. But you have to understand the neuroscience of the training.
So there you hear from the RVC, and these dogs, they are all trained. They have their specialized duties, and very soon they would be deployed for different operations. With cameraman Vishbandhu in Delhi, this is Vishal Baristo for DD India.
And the ships of the Indian Navy's first training squadron, INS Tir, INS Shardul, INS Sujata, along with ICGS Sarathi, made a port call at Palawan in Indonesia on January 20th. Now, the squadron was accorded a warm welcome by the Indonesian Navy, marked by a ceremonial reception featuring traditional dance performance. The ships are presently on a training deployment to Southeast Asia. The deployment of the first training squadron to Indonesia underscores India's sustained engagement with Southeast Asian nations in consonance with its Act East policy. It also reinforces the vision of Mahasagar, which means mutual and holistic advancement for security and growth across regions through regular naval interactions and training exchanges with member nations of the Indian Ocean Naval Symposium. And India's Operation Sagar Bandhu has been a beacon for communities impacted by Cyclone Ditwaha that hit Sri Lanka in November and December 2025. While India delivered humanitarian assistance to Sri Lanka, it has now stepped up efforts towards rebuilding Sri Lanka. Meanwhile, Indian companies operating in Sri Lanka have also extended humanitarian support worth over 900 million Sri Lankan rupees. President of Indian CEO Forum Kishore Reddy has said that the Indian companies have reached out to over 40 extremely remote villages in the island nation, providing emergency relief material. India's High Commissioner Santosh Jha, while speaking to reporters last week, said that Indian companies have also contributed $1 million to rebuilding Sri Lanka Fund.
The Indian CEO Forum, along with Colombo Indians, had been assisting villages. Beyond that, the Indian companies, which had actually contributed in terms of cash to the President's Fund for rebuilding Sri Lanka. Apart from that, the member companies alone had actually contributed to more than 900 million Sri Lankan rupees in terms of materials, in terms of cash donations, in terms of logistical vehicles being donated.
Indian companies in Sri Lanka have contributed over $1 million to the Rebuilding Sri Lanka Fund, underscoring their commitment to Sri Lanka's recovery and long-term development.
Well, still to come on DD India Newshour. Trump to skip proposed G7 emergency meet in Ukraine questions Macron's political future. Spain searches wreckage after deadly high-speed train crash killed many. And Japan court to deliver verdict in Shinzo Abe assassination case after 3 years.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the Economic Brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News. I'm Lipakshi Khurana, and moving on, amid escalating tensions with the US, the European Parliament will soon announce the suspension of the approval of the US trade deal agreed in July last year. Now, earlier, the European Union lawmakers have agreed to hold off ratifying a free trade deal with the United States following President Donald Trump's tariff stance over Greenland. Now, the European Parliament is expected to formally suspend on Wednesday its work on the trade deal struck with the US last summer in protest over Trump's warning. Trump has warned to 8 European Union nations, including France and Germany, with tariffs for not going along with his demand to get Greenland. Also, Washington claims Greenland's strategic location and mineral resources are vital to its security, but the leadership in Denmark and Greenland have rejected the idea, emphasizing their right to self-determination. Also, the trade tensions between the US and Europe have eased since the two sides struck a deal in Scotland in July last year. That agreement set US levies on most European goods at 15%. In exchange, Europe had agreed to invest in the US and make changes on the continent expected to boost US exports. The deal still needs approval from the European Parliament to become official. And US President Donald Trump on Tuesday said he would not attend an emergency meeting of G7 nations proposed by the French President Emmanuel Macron to discuss the Ukraine conflict. Speaking at a White House press briefing marking 1 year into his second term, Trump said he would not attend the meeting, suggesting Macron's political future was uncertain.
Will you still go to Paris for the G7 emergency meeting as offered by President Macron?
No, I wouldn't do that. Because, you know, Emmanuel's not going to be there very long. And there's no longevity there. He's a friend of mine. He's a nice guy. I like Macron, but he's not going to be there very much longer, as you know.
Well, ahead of a trip to Davos to participate in the World Economic Forum, US President Donald Trump said he would hold several meetings to address his intention to take control of Greenland. On Tuesday, he said there was no going back on his goal to control Greenland, refusing to rule out taking the Arctic island by force and lashing out at NATO allies.
We have a lot of meetings scheduled on Greenland, and I think things are going to work out pretty well. I think that we will work something out where NATO is going to be very happy and where we're going to be very happy. But we need it for security purposes. We need it for national security and even world security.
Well, after speaking with NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte, Trump said in a Truth Social post that Greenland was imperative for national and world security and that there could be no going back. He added that everyone agreed on that. Trump's bid to claim sovereignty over Greenland from Denmark has raised concerns about straining NATO and sparking a renewed trade conflict with Europe. Also, US President Donald Trump said on Tuesday that Washington is holding discussions with Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado about a potential role in Venezuela. Speaking to reporters, Trump said his stance on Venezuela had shifted, praising what he described as improved cooperation and commending Machado's leadership. He said talks were ongoing on how she might be involved and added he would welcome such an outcome. Trump dismissed the idea of speaking with Maduro and said his lawyers would oppose it, particularly in connection with allegations of interference in the 2020 U.S. election. He also claimed his administration had removed 50 million barrels of Venezuelan oil and sold a part of it to help lower global oil prices.
I felt so strongly against Venezuela. Now I'm loving Venezuela. They've been working with us so well. It's been so nice. And an unbelievably nice woman also did a very incredible thing, as you know, a few days ago. We're talking to her, and maybe we can get her involved in some way. I'd love to be able to do that. Maria, maybe we can do that. But we're dealing with the people and the president and all of the people in Venezuela, and we've been doing great. The oil companies are getting ready to make massive investments there.
Well, Venezuela's National Assembly President George Rodriguez on Tuesday announced broad reforms in the laws amid the new political context following the capture of Nicolas Maduro by a U.S. military operation. Talking to media, Rodriguez said this law covers all the elements related to the exploitation of oil in those cases where Venezuela has and had sufficient exploitation with enough oil wells to be exploited. The agenda includes changes to the hydrocarbon law to encourage foreign investment in the Venezuelan oil sector. Now, the country's hydrocarbon law currently requires foreign partners to work together with PDVSA, which must hold the majority stake. Also, Venezuela's interim president, Delcy Rodriguez, said on Tuesday that the country had received $300 million in oil revenue, marking the first funds from a 50 million barrel oil supply arrangement announced by U.S. President Donald Trump after Nicolas Maduro was captured earlier this month. Trump said separately on Tuesday that the United States had removed the oil from Venezuela and was selling part of it on the open market, although shipping data shows the volumes have not yet been exported. Rodriguez added that the government had informed 4 Venezuelan banks they would share the $300 million deposited in an account in Qatar, allowing them to provide dollars to local companies needing foreign currency to import materials.
Hoy debemos informar.
We must report that funds from oil sales have been received. The first $500 million has been received and $300 million has been received. These funds will be used to cover and finance our workers' incomes, to protect the purchasing power of Venezuelan workers, to protect them from inflation and the negative impact of exchange rate fluctuations. These initial flows will be used and employed through the exchange market in Venezuela, the National Bank, and the Central Bank of Venezuela. precisely to consolidate and stabilize the market and protect the income and purchasing power of our workers.
Well, meanwhile, the U.S. military said on Tuesday it had seized a tanker linked to Venezuela in the Caribbean, the seventh such action since President Donald Trump launched a month-long effort to control Venezuela's oil exports. Now, the U.S. Southern Command said the motor vessel Sagittar was apprehended without incident and released a video of the operation. The command said the move underscored Washington's determination to enforce the quarantine or sanctioned vessels and ensure Venezuelan oil is exported only through approved channels. Trump has made Venezuela a central focus of his Latin American policy and has said the U.S. intends to oversee the country's oil resources while pursuing a long-term plan to revive its struggling energy sector. And moving on, Australian lawmakers on Tuesday have passed tougher laws against hate crime and gun violence in response to last month's mass shooting at a Jewish festival at Sydney's Bondi Beach. Now, the gun control laws passed with the support of the Greens party despite opposition from the opposition Conservative Liberal National Coalition with a vote of 96 to 45 in the lower house and 38 to 26 in the Senate. While the second bill steps up penalties for hate crimes such as jail terms up to 12 years when a religious official or preacher is involved and allows bans on groups deemed to spread hate. The bill, which also provides new powers to cancel or refuse visas for those who spread hate, passed the lower house by 116 for 7 margin and the Senate 38 to 22. Earlier, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese recalled Parliament from its summer break for this week's special two-day session to toughen curbs after the shooting shocked the nation and prompted calls for more action on gun control and anti-Semitism. And in Japan, a court will on Wednesday deliver its verdict on a man accused of fatally shooting former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe 3.5 years after the broad daylight assassination shocked the world. The suspect, Tetsuya Yamagami, was arrested on the spot in July 2022 after fatally firing at Abe with a homemade gun while the former Prime Minister was delivering a campaign speech in the western city of Nara. Prosecutors are seeking a life sentence for Yamagami, calling the murder unprecedented in the post-war history of the nation and citing the extremely serious consequences it had on the society. Well, the former Prime Minister was a huge figure in public life in Japan, where there is virtually no gun crime, and the country was left stunned by his assassination. Well, in Spain, 1 person died and 4 were seriously injured after a train near Barcelona ploughed into a rubble of a collapsed wall on Tuesday. Now, the incident occurred as heavy storms battered northeastern Spain as coastal areas in the east and northwest of Spain are on high alert because of the weather. Emergency workers used torches in the dark to survey the wreckage of the derailed train carriage, which had turned into a mass of crumpled metal. It is the second deadly rail accident in days. 2 high-speed trains collided in the southern region of Andalusia on Sunday, killed 42 people and injured more than 120. All high-speed services between Madrid and the southern cities of Malaga, Cordoba, Sevilla and Huelva have been suspended until Friday. While Spain's king and queen visited the site where 2 high-speed trains collided at the weekend, met emergency services workers near the spot where the mangled wreckage of the 2 trains, which had been carrying more than 500 passengers, laid. Well, the royals also visited a hospital in the nearby city of Cordoba, where some of the injured are being treated. And still to come on DD India Newshour. Gunmen kill at least 31 in Niger's Tillaberi region, Sahel's deadliest zone. Venezuela's National Assembly President George Rodriguez announces law reforms after Maduro capture. And Bangladesh enters crucial pre-poll phase as candidature withdrawal ends on Tuesday ahead of February election.
Can the US launch a bombing campaign against Iran. The Philippines vessel suffered structural damage. The saga of child sexual abuse is the United States China's debt trap strategy. Truth is stranger than fiction. But sometimes hard to uncover. Trust us to tell the truth, unadulterated and pure, of every story that matters to you.
Exactly what save your country.
You read between the lines, cut the clutter, and connect the dots to get you the full picture. Watch Connecting the Dots at these times with me, only on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News. I'm Lipakshi Kuran, and time now for a quick recap of the headlines. India continues its strong pitch at World Economic Forum in Davos. Union Minister Ashwini Vaishnaw says Bharat is building a complete semiconductor ecosystem. US President Trump says US and NATO will reach agreement on Greenland's future. No going back, on control, won't rule out force. European Parliament freezes approval of US trade deal following Trump's tariff stance over Greenland. Australian Parliament passes gun reform and anti-hate bills following Bondi shooting that killed 15 people. And in sports, the India-New Zealand rivalry shifts to the shortest format as the men in blue face the Blacks cap in the first of the 5 T20 International in Nagpur today. And moving on to updates on Davos 2026, India's Minister for Electronic and Information Technology Ashwini Vaishnaw has said that India is working at all levels of chip manufacturing and aims to become the world's largest supplier of services. Other union ministers and state leaders will attend special sessions of the World Economic Forum. US President Donald Trump will also address the forum today. Well, India's Minister for Electronics and Information Technology, Ashwini Vaishnaw, has said that India is working at all levels of chip manufacturing and aims to become the world's largest supplier of services. He categorically mentioned this while addressing the World Economic Forum, and other union ministers and state leaders will also attend special sessions of the World Economic Forum. US President Donald Trump will also address the forum today. And for more on this, DD India's Akhilesh Suman joins us. Well, Akhilesh, good morning. India is, of course, projecting itself as a global hub for the semiconductors, AI and advanced manufacturing at Davos this year. Huge investment announcements happening. How do you see India's economic vision shaping up?
You know, Lipakshi, when computer revolution was going on around the world, India entered in that computer revolution, and you know that India created so many good software professionals that help all around the world. So in the same way, India, as far as the cheap semiconductors, they are all concerned. India has a very good talent pool, and that talent pool is sufficient, you know, and also efficient to not only fulfill the needs of India, but also to contribute to the world chip manufacturing and also semiconductor, you know, innovation. So in that way, what Mr. Vaishnaw is telling at World Economic Forum is quite remarkable. You know, that one should know that India is not a late entrant. India is working simultaneously on AI, on semiconductors, on chip industry. And when the whole world started feeling that the chip industry should be diversified, rare earth should not be monopolized, and the semiconductor manufacturing should be done in many countries of the world. So I think India is on the boat. And India is on the boat in very fast speed. And that is what Mr. Vaishnaw is trying to convince the world, that India, being the largest open market, being the one of the most stable economy, the first largest economy, and also very transparent system, taxation reforms. So India is now a place for investment in AI, investment in chip industry, investment in semiconductors, also in innovation and startups. So I think the World Economic Forum has given India a platform this year, and that is why that India has the largest delegation this time. 10,000 square feet Indian pavilion is also giving a impression that yes, in the largest democracy of the world is present at World Economic Forum. And also, 15 states from India are participating in the World Economic Forum, presenting their own, products, their own innovations, their own, space where the foreign investors can come and invest. 6 chief ministers are there, 4 union ministers are there, and the whole delegation is led by Ashwini Vaishnaw. So I think that this has given enough opportunity to India in a turbulent world after Mr. Donald Trump's tariff war and many unilateral decisions. Right. India is giving the whole world an impression that come and invest in India, that not only make for India, make for the world, and create a bonhomie that will give win-win situation India for India also, and whoever comes and cooperate with India in economic and other fields of manufacturing, manufacturing.
Also, yes, Akhilesh, in fact, India is on the go at high speed indeed, as you said. But with Donald Trump set to address Davos today amid global economic uncertainty and his Greenland rhetoric, of course, what can be expected? Can we expect something to reshape global trade or political dynamics out there?
Actually, Donald Trump is also getting this platform to speak his own mind and what is there in his heart. And you cannot expect something new from Donald Trump, because Donald Trump's trajectory is that he is trying to show to the world that in the U.S. interest is superb and U.S. interest is the primary for him. And in that way, the whole MAGA theory that, make America great again, and for that, he will do whatever he wants to do, and that is what I expect, that some more announcement in that line also. Because Donald Trump's whole emphasis is on American interest, that America, who has been part of the whole globalization process. If you see the whole history of WTO, India, America, US was one of the most important parts, and US diplomatically had dialogue with most countries of the world to join the WTO and make it as strong, so that the world trade can go in a rule-based way. But now the same America has got a president who is trying to break the whole rule of the world, and the whole world already is in disarray. So I expect that when Mr. Trump is coming and speaking this time, the whole world will hear on the same line. From tariff to Greenland to other things that we have been hearing for last 1 year. He has completed 1 year, and he is going to give a big thump that yes, he has done work and so many things. So we don't expect anything new from Donald Trump about cooperation in the world. Rather, we will see that how he will present America, USA as the place where no immigrants should go, where there will be high tariffs for exporting to America. So these are the things I think you will be expecting. We have heard the UN speech this year and last year's UN speech, and we saw that he was on the same trajectory. And I will find the same trajectory in WEF also today when he comes and speaks with in presence of world leaders and delegations.
All right. Thank you so much, Akhilesh, for all those details. And moving on, Bangladesh's political landscape has reached a crucial stage as the deadline for withdrawal of candidatures ended on Tuesday ahead of the 13th Jatiya Sangsad election on February 12th. Political alliances are under strain, most notably after Islami Andolan Bangladesh exited the Jamaat-e-Islami-led coalition to contest 268 seats independently in the 300 seats parliament, citing unfair seat sharing and ideological differences, weakening the Islamist bloc's one-box strategy. Now, major parties, including the BNP, continue to negotiate alliances amid persistent divisions while campaigning intensifies at the grassroots. Concerns over electoral inclusiveness remain high, especially with Sheikh Hasina's Awami League banned from political activities. Recent political violence and attacks on minorities have drawn international attention, raising questions about rights protection ahead of the polls. As polling day approaches, both domestic and international observers are closely watching whether the interim government can deliver a credible, peaceful and competitive election. And in Nepal, a total of 2,925 candidates on Tuesday registered their nominations across 165 constituencies for the House of Representatives elections under the first-past-the-post system. Now, the elections are scheduled to be held on March 5th. As per the Election Commission of Nepal, 336 female and 2,589 male candidates have appeared in the EC's system. It added the number may still increase since the task of verification is underway in some electoral constituencies. The Election Commission said Mustang district has recorded the lowest number of candidates in Nepal, with only 4 individuals registering their candidacies. And in Niger, the gunmen attacked a village in western region near the borders with Burkina Faso and Mali over the weekend, leaving at least 31 people dead. The attack took place on Sunday in a village lying in the Telaberi region, located in the tri-border area, a flashpoint zone where the frontiers of Niger, Burkina Faso and Mali converge. No group has claimed the responsibility so far. Telaberi became the deadliest region across central Sahel in 2025 with more than 1,200 deaths, most of them civilians. Several terrorist groups that target both civilians and the military operate in Niger, including an Islamic State group affiliate. And in a new mass transfer, Mexico sent 37 alleged members of criminal organizations to the United States as part of the crime-fighting cooperation between the two countries. The Mexican Secretary of Security said the alleged criminals posed a threat to national security, adding that with this transfer, a total of 92 alleged criminals have been sent to the U.S. during the current administration. This new mass transfer of alleged criminals took place amid tensions with the U.S. over combating drug trafficking. Well, last week, Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum and U.S. President Donald Trump had a phone call to rule out any U.S. military intervention in the Latin American nation. Also, this is the third time Mexico has transferred alleged criminals to face charges in the U.S. during Sheinbaum's term. The first was in February 2025 with 29 and the second was in August with 26. And in a victory for thousands of women suing Johnson & Johnson over claims that the company's baby powder and other talc products caused their ovarian cancer, a federal judge ruled that they will be allowed to present testimony at trial from experts who support that link. The ruling from an outside judge serving as a special master in the long-running litigation, which includes more than 67,500 lawsuits that have been consolidated in federal court in New Jersey, will allow the cases to move towards the first trial in federal court potentially later this year. Johnson & Johnson, which has been fighting claims over its talc products in both federal and state court for years, has said its products are safe and do not cause cancer. J&J stopped selling talc-based baby powder in the U.S. in 2020 and switched to a cornstarch product. Johnson & Johnson had sought to resolve the litigation through bankruptcy, a tactic that was rejected 3 times by federal courts, most recently in April 2025. The bankruptcies had put most of the talc product cases on hold for the years. And now let's take a look at other stories making news around the world. Tribes in the U.S. Southwest have taken a major step to protect the Colorado River by granting it legal personhood. The Colorado River Indian tribes said the move recognizes the river as a living entity and aims to safeguard water for future generations. Tribal leaders also hope the status will strengthen their role in ongoing water sharing talks in the region. Britain's Prince William and Princess Kate went head-to-head in a friendly curling match in Scotland. The royal couple met Team Great Britain and Paralympics Great Britain athletes at the National Curling Academy in Stirling. The visit comes as preparations continue for the upcoming Winter Olympics and Paralympics in Italy. And time now for a short break. We'll be back in a while.
Welcome to Jaipur.
Welcome back. You watching T20 News. I'm Lipakshi Kuran, and moving on, Northeast Indian states of Manipur, Tripura and Meghalaya are celebrating their statehood day on Wednesday. President Draupadi Murmu on Wednesday extended warm greetings to the people of these three Northeast states on their statehood day. In a post on X, President Murmu said, and I quote, "Warm greetings to the people of Meghalaya, Tripura and Manipur on their statehood day. These states are blessed with rich cultural legacy, vibrant traditions and extraordinary natural beauty. The enterprising and talented people have made remarkable contributions to the nation's progress. I wish their residents a future filled with peace and prosperity." Unquote. Well, Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Wednesday also greeted people of three Northeast states, Manipur, Tripura and Meghalaya, on their statehood day, expressing pride about the role played by the people of Manipur towards India's development. In a post on X, Prime Minister said, and I quote, "On the occasion of Manipur's statehood day, I extend my warm greetings to my sisters and brothers of the state. People from Manipur are enriching the progress of India. This state's passion towards sports, culture and nature is noteworthy. May the state continue to move forward on the path of development in the times to come." I convey my heartfelt greetings to the people of Meghalaya on their statehood day. The people of Meghalaya have made strong contributions to the development of our nation. The state's cultural vibrancy and scenic beauty are widely admired. May Meghalaya keep scaling new heights of developments in the future. Unquote. While noting that Meghalaya is admired for its natural beauty and the industrious nature of the people, Prime Minister Modi said in another post on X, "I convey my heartfelt greetings to the people of Meghalaya on their statehood day. The people of Meghalaya have made strong contributions to the development of our nation. The state's cultural vibrancy and scenic beauty are widely admired. May Meghalaya keep scaling new heights of development in the future." And in a third post, the Prime Minister expressed greeting to the people of Tripura as well. Warm greetings to the people of Tripura on their statehood day. Tripura's journey is marked by a remarkable blend of tradition and modernity. The state has witnessed pioneering transformations in diverse fields, and its people are adding momentum to India's growth trajectory. I pray that Tripura prospers significantly in the coming times, he said. While you're watching DD India News, our time now for some sports news. The stage is set for day 2 of the Khelo India Winter Games in Leh, Ladakh. Figure skating, an Olympic sport, making its debut at this edition of the Khelo India Winter Games, will headline the second day of competition at the NDS Stadium. Alongside this, group matches in men's and women's ice hockey will be played throughout the day. Early on Tuesday, the Khelo India Winter Games were inaugurated with a grand opening ceremony against the breathtaking backdrop of late. Defending champions Ladakh women and the Army men made emphatic starts in the ice hockey competition, while fancied teams ITBP and Himachal Pradesh also registered victories in their respective matches. This is the third time the Union Territory of Ladakh is hosting the Khelo India Winter Games. The snow leg of the games will be held later this year in Gulmarg, Jammu and Kashmir. And for more on the Khelo India Games, Abhishek Prasad joins us from there. Well, Abhishek, 6th edition of Khelo India Winter Games 2026, day 2 today. Figure skating also on schedule. Tell us what all is planned for day 2.
Definitely, Lipakshi, the stage is already set for the Khelo India Winter Games. And today marks the day 2 of the 6th edition of the Winter Games. And figure skating, which is an Olympic sport, is making its debut in this edition of the Games, which reflects the government's intent to promote, sports beyond traditional disciplines, and which is give emphasis to global sports. And figure skating is that Olympic sport, and which is require a rare combination of artistry, athleticism, and balance. And it is the most demanding winter sports in Europe. So all in all, we can say that the government's intent to promote sports here in Ladakh, in Leh. This is the third consecutive year where the Khelo India Winter Games ice events are happening in Ladakh. And you can see the temperature, you can see the mountains behind me. The temperature here is close to -7, and it fluctuates to -10. So it's very challenging conditions here, where Leh is situated at a high altitude of 11,500 feet, and there is a low oxygen level also. So it's very challenging for athletes from different states to come here and acclimatize and participate in the Winter Games. But they are participating, and all in all, the government is playing a very crucial role to create a winter sports ecosystem through the Khelo India Winter Games.
All right. Indeed, the temperatures are very low, and of course, the participants are doing their best. Thank you so much for all that information. And moving on, India's final preparations for the ICC T20 World Cup 2026 begins with a 5-match T20 series against New Zealand, starting with the opening match in Nagpur on Wednesday. After a 2-1 defeat in the ODI series, Team India, led by Suryakumar Yadav, will aim to bounce back in the shortest format. New Zealand arrived with confidence after achieving several firsts over the past year, including a Test series whitewash and their first ever bilateral ODI series win in India. Now the visitors will look to script another milestone in T20 cricket as well. And top Indian shuttlers will begin their campaign at the Indonesia Masters Badminton Tournament today. 2-time Olympic medalist PV Sindhu will clash with Manami Suizo of Japan in the first round. Sindhu had reached the semi-finals of the season-opening Malaysia Open early this month. Sindhu will be accompanied by Malvika Bansod, Tanvi Sharma and Unnati Huda in the women's single main draw. India's top men's single player Lakshya Sen will look to carry forward the positives from his quarter-final run at the Indian Open last week. Former world number 1 Kidambi Srikanth is also in the men's single draw, along with compatriots H.S. Pranoy, Tarun Manapalli and Ayush Shetty. Well, the Canary Wharf Winter Lights Festival in London returned for its 10th edition with 16 light installations by artists from around the world. With the theme of Dreamscape, the free outdoor event includes immersive artworks around. Take a look. All right, that's all for this edition of DT India News Hour, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DT India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DT India. I'm Lipakshi Khurana from All of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DT India News Hour.